Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Roberta. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here. This is the Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Somerville Community Preservation Committee. I'm Ryan Kirikoff, the chair. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, this meeting of the Somerville Community Preservation Committee will be conducted via remote participation. We will have a video recording available upon request as soon as possible after the meeting. Roberta, could you please call the roll?
Sure. Eric Parks,
Yes, I'm here.
Michael McNally,
Here.
Carlos Ayala,
Here.
John Bronnenkamp,
Here.
David Turin,
Here.
Heather Highmark. Can you hear us, Heather? Oh, she seems to have frozen.
Oh.
We'll come back to her later. Brian?
Present.
All right. Then that's everyone who's here at the moment.
Okay, great. And we do have a quorum. Okay, so this is the virtual annual public hearing for the CPC application round. Thank you to folks that are on here and joining us. I'll talk through procedure here for just a couple of minutes. Roberta can fill in any gaps of anything I forget or gloss over, and then we'll try to move through this happily packed agenda of applicants for this year. So folks will be admitted by Roberta, I think one by one, or with your group that's going to be presenting. The order will follow what's on the agenda that was posted. And we really, in order to try to keep things moving, I'm going to try my best to limit us to about 10 minutes on each. And to help us get there, we ask the folks that are presenting really just limit your initial remarks, or if anything you want to talk about your project, to just a minute or two, if you can. Folks that are on the Community Preservation Committee should have already reviewed your materials. So, folks understand the general gist of what you are applying for. If you can keep it to 1 or 2-ish minutes off the top, then that'll give us plenty of time to ask some questions to take up the remaining 10 minutes or so. So apologies if I have to move people along or cut people off. I don't mean to be rude, but I am going to try to keep us moving along tonight, so we're not here for many, many hours. As Roberta was mentioning before, comments after the CPC members have had a chance to ask any questions. If folks from the general public want to submit comments via the link, and Roberta will correct me in a second for what the exact button will look like, but we welcome written comments that if we're not able to have the time to bring them up here, I see Roberta just dropped a link in the chat, then we will put those on the record, and we will do our best to get answers and present them in the next meeting. A reminder to folks, we are not voting on anything tonight. Votes on these proposals will in all likelihood be taken starting in December. And on occasion they extend into January, but no votes tonight. This is just about information gathering and asking questions and hearing from you all. So with that, maybe I'll pause for a second. Roberta, any gaps to fill in on my intro there?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. So we'll accept comments at any time. I dropped the link in the form in the chat, and we have. I'm sorry, I was just distracted by something on my screen. I put into your meeting packets comments that we've already received up to this point. People have been using this form already the past week to send comments, and the form will be open through the end of October. So we'll accept comments that are submitted using this form through October 31. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that I did get one late request to reverse the order of numbers 2 and 3 on the agenda. So I'll take Vita Real, and I'll take, so it'll be Elizabeth Peabody House, then Vita Real, then Buddy's Diner for the order.
Okay, and you'll remind me of that when I forget and call out Buddy Sat second. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, with that, why don't we dive in and get started here? So can we please admit folks, any representatives from the Elizabeth Peabody House for the Structural Stabilization Project application?
Sure, I will advance the folks who have helpfully raised their hand. And while they are joining us, I will open their presentation.
Thank you.
And I'm going to share the presentation. You are welcome to introduce yourselves while I share the presentation.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for making some time for us tonight. I'm Matthew Cahy. I know some faces seem familiar from last conversation, but Matthew Cahy, Executive Director of the Elizabeth Peabody House. And I think I may have, I'm not sure, but at some point I may bring on John Freeman from Platt Anderson Freeman Architects if he is on the call tonight for questions, who's our architect that we've partnered with for several years now on a lot of this work. But anyway, so the project itself is a very simple project. It's stabilizing the second floor, which is the former sanctuary of the church and really the centerpiece and heart of the building and the facility. Currently, it is not. So yeah, so the history is here. So I think most people know the history. I'm not going to go into it because I know we're trying to keep it short. But ultimately, our facility operates several programs, largely around childcare and family supports. But there's opportunities in the years ahead to expand that, to expand our offering. And so we've had we're very fortunate to have had strong CPA support in past years, and here's the list of grants. And so we replaced our roof, we put in a new fire alarm system. We have just completed, although we haven't submitted the closeout reports for our stained glass window restoration. So I invite everybody to come and take a look at them. And we're working on timeline for our siding replacement project. And so all of those have come to fruition or are in the process, and we're very grateful for that support. And so as part of our efforts to preserve this iconic building, we're at the point now where we don't use the second floor. It's not usable for anything other than storage and a little bit of overflow for when the kids can't go outside in the winter. And it's really a shame. It is, like I said, it's the centerpiece of the property, and it's a shame that it isn't usable and it isn't in use for folks. And it is the one part of the building that really shows off the stained glass windows from the inside. And so our aim is, as a first step, to do the structural upgrade that it needs to be capacity load or assembly load. And the goal for that is really, I know that can feel at times to go beyond us, beyond stabilization, but the way we look at this is that was its former original use, was it was there for congregations to assemble. And so all we're doing is giving it the structural integrity it once had back so that it can serve as a convening place and a gathering place and a place for community for the years ahead. And so there are some key points here. So it'll stabilize the second floor. It acts as a first step in transforming the space for wider community use. And the project itself will take about 9 weeks. We're targeting next summer because that's the easiest time to move our programs out of the building. And it'll be easier for us to find space in other buildings to relocate our kids. And so we have $100,000 of the money secured, and we're asking for the other 420 and change from the CPA. And so I'll keep it short at that because I know we're trying to get through for time, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you very much, Matt. Anybody at CPC with questions to start us off?
How many square feet is the floor? Just curious.
Sam, do you know? I know it's over 2,000. I don't know exactly, but Sam has been working. Sam Dennis is here from Platt Anderson Freeman,
Oh, hello.
He's been working on the building for longer than I've been around the building.
So you were asking what the area measurement is for that floor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's around 2,000 square feet.
Okay.
Was that fire damage? It looked like in the exposed portion, or is that just corrosion? It was kind of small on my screen.
Oh, the pictures, the photo.
Yeah.
Sam, can you speak
We-
that when we opened up the floor?
We didn't identify it as fire damage.
Okay. It just looked very black to me. Like I said, it was a little picture, and I wasn't there.
Yeah, I think that may have been some kind of a wood preservative that was put onto the framing at the time.
Yeah. Okay. I was just kind of wondering whether there might be more structural damage than you know about.
We didn't think so.
Yeah. Okay.
The the
Heather, please.
that floor was
Oh.
framed at a time prior to the new codes. So when we had our structural engineers look at it, they looked at the floor and also the roof and all the structures supporting it down below. It they didn't seem to think
No,
that there was
yeah,
anything-
definitely. I'm not trying to create a problem where there isn't one. I just saw how black that supporting beam looked.
Right.
And
I
wondered if
noticed
that was
it as
char.
well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks, David. Heather, do you have a question?
Yes. So first, I just want to compliment Elizabeth Peabody House for having done a really great job managing and executing all your all your grants in the past, and all the good work you've done. And you've been really great stewards of the building as well as the services that you offer the community. I just want to give you a shout out on that. That said, it is an extremely competitive funding round this year. So I wonder if you could kind of, we have a copy of the budget in the application, but if you could just kind of run us through that and maybe even brainstorm if you had to phase, is it possible to phase any part of this, just in view of the fact that it's a tight funding round.
Yeah, and we had thought about that a lot, Heather, and I know that had come up in past rounds of funding as well, particularly with the stained glass windows, because that's how we had originally structured the budget. And it is a possibility to do it. You could do it in two phases, for example. But the problem we have, and this is the biggest concern for us, one, it costs more to mobilize twice, right, to do the work. But also because we have got kids in the building every day, it means then we have to relocate twice for the same project, which is a lot. It's an incredible amount of work to get a place relicensed for a short period of time, because we have to go through the whole licensing process with the State Department. Even if the space is already functioning as a childcare facility, we have to get it relicensed. And so there's a lot of disruption that goes on, not just for the building itself, but for the families, and then for the staff and the community to do that twice. And so ideally, we wouldn't do it two times, but if push came to shove, we'll get creative with it, right? If that answers your question.
Yes, and you had, help me recall, you had a 15% contingency on this?
Correct.
And this was a budget that was developed with your preservation architect or from a contractor?
With the construction company, they did several walkthroughs, and they walked through with the engineers, and they actually were the ones asked to open up the floor and the wall to see what was going on as well. So
And yes, we oversaw all of that.
yep, and John and Sam were involved from start to finish. So we're reasonably confident in the numbers.
Okay.
Do you get multiple, how do you go about this? Because it looks like you said sort of a design build thing with one group. Do you get multiple prices or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll put it out. We only got one for the application, but we certainly will be shopping around. But
Okay.
Between the engineering company who spent several months in and out of the building, our architects, and the construction company, we had a good look at it. So it seems like we're in the ballpark.
Okay.
And Matt, it's worth mentioning probably that we did have another builder take a look at it, and he gave us an estimate of what he thought it would take to do the work, and it lined up with the later estimates that we got from the builder that we're anticipating working with.
Yeah, they just we didn't get any, we didn't have anything in writing to submit to back up that, but yeah, that's true.
Right.
Okay. And this is
So I know
before,
it's hard to read the tea leaves, but with I don't know, tariffs and uncertainties and the cost of materials, do you feel that that 15% contingency is sufficient?
Um, yes, for now, Heather. I mean, who knows, right? Everything changes day by day. But I mean, the beauty of EPH is that we're working on other grant opportunities, and there are several that we've identified that offer matches, right? And prefer to leverage funds. Like I'm thinking of like the Amelia Peabody Fund, charitable fund, the one that does capital. They prefer to get involved when you've already got a good chunk of the money raised for it. So there's opportunities there if we see that start to increase. But for now, we're reasonably comfortable with where we're at.
Okay,
Understood.
thank you.
Also, in a project like this, it's more labor-based than material-based. So the labor costs will probably be stable.
Right.
Understood. Okay, one more question. Anybody?
Yeah, Matt, real quick, can you please remind me exactly how many families or residents rely on programs that are housed in your property right now, and what are like how are they gonna have access to the services that you provide while you're building or working on the
Yes,
renovations?
that's a great question, and thank you for asking it. So currently we have about 75 families that are coming every day, and that's for childcare. That's full day, all 20 or 52 weeks a year childcare. And then in the summer that increases. We've about 150 kids because our summer program doubles, right? Or more than doubles. And then our food pantry, which runs out of our building, serves about 1,400 families a year and about 4,200 people. Mostly children. 40% are children in those households. So we're around the 4,500 people a year from the building as it stands. But the goal for this project is to give us more space to do more, right? And so whether that looks like supporting another population, whether it is about offering space to community groups that are often excluded, like seniors and people with disabilities, they're often excluded from buildings, particularly older buildings that don't have accessibility. So that's the goal. But this is the first step in creating that space in our creating like what I'm calling a community hub in this space for more programs and more groups.
Yeah, thank you
Excellent.
so much. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate being here. Thanks for the very thorough application package. You guys have been great partners, and yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks everybody, and thanks for the support. Thanks for your time, and we appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Very good.
you.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, folks. All right. With that, let's move on to our second applicant, who will be Vida Real Broadway, the roof preservation. Sorry, Roberto. I know we're putting you on the spot with admitting
My
and,
apologies.
and
I
booting.
was
No,
just
it's all good. I know it's
just muted. I just brought Leilani Mendez to oh, and let me demote those of you from the last group. My apologies. I am I'm looking for how I move people out of the change role to attendee. Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
very good. All right.
Okay.
Well, anybody, Leilani, anybody else joining you?
Not tonight.
Okay.
All right.
Floor is yours. Thanks for joining us.
All right. I am just going to open the presentation for you, and
Okay.
I will share that on the screen.
Okay, well, thank you so much. My name is Leilani Mendez, and I'm representing Vida Real. I am a parishioner volunteer and operations manager of Hearts of Life entity of Vida Real. I'm representing, which was originally the roof project, but a letter of amendment to the application was submitted after discussion and what was okay to submit and what was not okay to submit based on the assessment condition that we received. So in the first slide, you're gonna see the building, the 404 Broadway, which is a landmark located in Winter Hill Broadway, which is our church, our original church, Vida Real International. And the uses of the building is a place of worship, social center, community for the community, nonprofit organization that helps locally and abroad, which is Hearts of Life, and our music school, and currently serving as Real Life Learning Center. We're serving over 30 students, and which is rooted on principle values, on Bible. I'm sorry, rooted on biblical principle values. And that is, we used to function as a pantry as well, but the pantry has been moved to our other location in Medford. So those are the current uses, as you can see in the clip, that the building is being used for currently. We serve a grand population of the Hispanic immigrant community. And the third slide, you're gonna see our past CPA grants that have been completed, works have been completed, and documentation have been submitted, which have been successfully completed and all. And the last grant that we received, which is what has helped us and for future projects and assess exactly how to preserve this historic landmark, is the condition assessment from SSV Architect. And they have provided a 40+ page assessment of various phases of projects that we need to address in order to preserve the building and to continue functioning in a safe manner. In the last slide, you will see the funding requests that we have identified. Priorities repair to identify condition assessment is for the windows and restoration of the doors, the non-religious imageries. And this is why a letter of amendment was submitted, because originally I had submitted the roof to be completed, but that's not on the first priority phase. Because I was under the impression that the windows in question were not going to be covered under the grant. But after discussing with the representative from the city, I was taking out that doubt, and can see that that is the priority. And since it's covered under the grant, we would rather have the windows addressed first versus the roof, which is not on the priority. It's actually on the second phase, and the windows are on the first phase to preserve so water damage doesn't come in to the building. We want to address the non-picture windows, and then on phase 1A, go and SSV Architect is going to help us find funding for the imagery windows in the process. And as you see in the budget, we're requesting 165,000, 150,000 for the grant, and we have in promises, parishional donations, 15,000 to match.
Understood. Okay, thanks, Leilani.
Thank you.
I'll open it up to my CPC colleagues. Anybody like to ask a first question?
I can kick us off here.
Go ahead, coach.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, can you walk us through like the condition assessment revealed and why windows and doors are not the top priority?
On page 35 of the condition assessment that was submitted, It, not that it was not that it's not a priority, but in certain types of grants that are offered, because they consist of imagery and religious pictures stained onto them, they're not allowed to be a grant. They won't give us a grant because of the imagery, because of the religious part of the windows. But the windows that we are in question, that we are requesting to be, does not have imagery in their Tiffany windows, which is very expensive, and they don't have the stains on them. And if you look on page 35 of the assessment, they did not include the windows that have the pictorial windows into the assessment.
So my question is, what are the condition of the windows right now? Why do you feel like they need to be renovated?
Because based on the condition assessment that was performed by SSV, they seen the moisture, the water
Yeah,
seepage into
water, yeah.
them. So the longer they're not preserved, then the more damage into the building it would.
Appreciate.
You're welcome.
It sounded like they were also going to add like a storm or something like that to help seal the windows and protect them. So it's preserving the windows and
Yeah, it's preserving and restoring. If you see in page 1, I'm not sure if you can, I don't know if you have with the application, I submitted the assessment. They're talking about by phase 1 involving pressing repairs to windows without the religious imagery as anticipated to be at the least partial funded by community. It's strongly recommended that the restoration of the windows is accompanied or at least closely followed by furnishment and installation of low profile exterior storm panels gasketed to limit heat retention and allow off gassing of lead cames.
Thanks for the clarity.
You're welcome.
Eric, do you have a question?
Yeah, you said these are Tiffany windows?
Yes, the in the first phase, those are the most expensive ones that are Tiffany windows.
And that's what the ones you're proposing. Are those the imagery, the religious imagery ones, or these ones?
No, not the ones that we're proposing to be preserved are Tiffany Studio stained glass, but these do not have imagery as to why we are applying for the grant, because the grant doesn't cover imagery or religious images on the windows.
Are there also Tiffany, are the other ones with imagery also Tiffany?
I'm not sure.
yes, in the report it says they're also Tiffany.
That's a huge,
Yes, being designed and fabricated by Tiffany Studios. Those are also Tiffany.
that's a huge deal that you have those. I mean, it's a side note, but yeah, that's a big find. I'm impressed.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure if you can see, if you see on page 35 of the assessment, it speaks about the first phase and the second and phase 1A, which are the pictorial windows. And yes, he mentioned it that they are fabricated by Tiffany Studios, but he didn't include a budget on that. Because those are the imagery ones.
Yeah. Understood.
Cool.
Okay. I'm going to be selfish and ask what I think is probably the last question we'll have time for. The estimate here is based obviously on the architect's assessment. I see you note in the application that there is no contractor or builder on board yet. So
That
I
is
guess
correct.
the question is, how soon would you try to get a contractor on board, and what, if any, feeling do you have that we might be revisiting this cost once an actual builder is on board?
Well, after careful discussion with the city's representative, we have to present to the congregation the need to work closely with the architect, and the architect can recommend contractors that we wouldn't have to revisit, and just have the work done in the proper manner from the beginning with the budget given versus trying to revisit for the same cause. And I mean, hopefully if we're able to get this grant, just continue on to the next phase, which is the pictorial windows with a different organization or grant that are able to help us.
Got it. So if I understand it, the idea would be to get a builder through the architect that would sign up to basically a guaranteed maximum price contract that ties to the budget
Correct.
submitted. Understood. Okay. Anybody else? I don't see any other hands raised. So with that, we'll say thank you very much, Leilani. Appreciate you being here, and thanks for the
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you very much.
You.
May I sign off?
You
Yes.
may.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right, you as well.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's go on to our next applicant. Let's have anybody from Buddy's Diner.
I have one person raising her hand. And I'm going to advance Nicole Barros. And pull up a presentation for Buddy's Diner.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Welcome.
How you doing? My name's Nicole Barrows. I'm the owner of Buddy's Diner in East Somerville, and I'm here with Taya from East Somerville Main Streets. They're the ones who let me know about the grants and had reached out to me when my business was closed down, and have been helping me through the process to try to apply for different grants so I could try to get reopened. So
I will share screen with your presentation.
thank you.
All right.
So I've owned Buddy's for about it's gonna be 20 years in February. Buddy's is a 1929 Worcester lunch car. It was made in Worcester, Mass, and then it was opened in Leominster, Mass in 1929. It was moved to Somerville in 1951. It was ran by John and Sue Barrett for 40 years previous to me. What else can I say? Okay. We're just one of a handful of these type diners that are left and in the state and not in the city. As you guys know, there's only a couple of diners left. Go next. So when I bought the diner, I had to bring everything up to code, you know, to be able to open. It's kind of hard because the diner is from 1929, so a lot of things are grandfathered in. But I was still able to bring everything up to code and open, and yeah, you can go to the next one. That's the inside of the diner. Everything in the diner is original except for the windows. The windows were changed in the 70s. The barrel roof was brought back to its original glory in the late 90s by the owner's brother. So basically, we don't really want to change anything in the inside of the diner. I kind of just want to get those pipes fixed and get the place reopened. Kind of want to keep everything the same on the outside, and just kind of fix all of the little things that need fixing, maybe the wood around the windows. But the biggest thing is getting the pipes fixed. I'm in this situation because National Grid was doing work out front of my place, and they collapsed all my sewer pipes. The city says I own the sewer, and at first I tried to go after my insurance company to get the money to pay for it. My insurance denied the claim because they said it was sewage. So right away I retained a lawyer, and it took a really long time for National Grid to even accept my claim with the lawyer, but I ran out of money. And so it was basically me fighting against National Grid, who now is pointing a finger at Boston Gas, who is now pointing a finger at the Devereaux construction. And I found myself in a position that I'm like in court, just me against these high-powered attorneys, and I'm broke. That's why I'm here. So that's just showing like where we definitely know there's one of the breakage, where the star is. There's like there's breakage there, but there's also breakage going to the street, but we just don't know exactly where all of the breakage is because the cameras can only go so far. Those pipes are clay pipes from the early 1900s. When they were doing the jackhammering out there, it basically just collapsed all of those old clay pipes. That's what's caused the issue. This is some pictures from just after the fact. If you could see like, just it's basically a basement, just all full of sewage. If you could see where my stairs are, I just couldn't find those pictures from on my other phone. But the sewage and the water came all the way up to the ceiling. So there's just like extensive damage in the basement. It's my electrical panel, the gas, a little bit of everything. So the project's a professional assessment and repair of glass plumbing. So we've had multiple people go out there, people that just work with historical properties and then just regular contractors as well that have submitted different quotes, which we've already gave to you guys. So the study, yeah, you guys, that's what you guys want me to do is that study and then the construction. So that's like basic estimates.
Mhm.
So we did start a GoFundMe. I just didn't share it much because I wasn't sure how this grant process was going to go because I do also have the diner for sale. I'm really in a desperate situation here. I'm really counting on these grants to be able to if this grant becomes available to me, I plan on just like sharing the GoFundMe a lot more, maybe you know, hosting like a few different things to try to raise money. If you go to the next thing, we've been added to the Preservation Massachusetts recently voted to include Buddy's Diner in their 2025 Most Endangered Historic Resources Program, which highlights historically significant but threatened buildings, structures, and landscapes across the Commonwealth. Official announcement of program participating is forthcoming. Next Thursday, I'm going to a function with them, and they really seem like I really think they want to help. So I think between this grant and then Preservation Massachusetts, I really could have a really good chance of opening and not be forced to sell. And actually with the Preservation Massachusetts, they have lawyers that work for them. I still actually might have a chance to get a lawyer to work off contingency that I'd still be able to go after National Grid for everything that they've done. And that's it. Sorry, I'm just a little bit nervous and I'm not good with stuff like that.
Excellent. No problem at all. Thank you so much for being here. Great job in the presentation. Really happy you're with us. So with that, I'll open up to my colleagues for any questions for Nicole. Roberta, you have your hand up?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question actually on behalf of Mary Jo Bohart, who couldn't be here this evening, but she shared a question with me. She has worked in another community on a similar project to use a grant to restore a diner. And based on that experience, she wanted to ask the question whether you have already interfaced with the building department, fire, and health departments to see what's realistically needed to make it operational again. She wants to know if you are going to have the resources to, or and I think you've already addressed this in your presentation. What is your game plan to have the full resources you need to get operational again, to open up your
To
doors?
reopen?
Yeah.
I grants and crowdfunding.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Nicole, so Nicole, I think it's a wonderful little diner, and I think we're all.
Oh, I think we lost Heather. Oh, she's back.
I'm back. Oh, sorry,
Sorry.
my bad Wi-Fi. So my question is, you had a timeline which was fairly rigorous. It can take CPA up, almost up to 6 months sometimes before we actually issue the grant, before you can start to tap on the money. And I think your timeline was almost, kind of assuming that it might be able to be turned around by like February or something. So given that things are so sensitive, if you can't tap into the CPA funds until June, is it still viable?
Yeah, Roberta already explained that to me when we were at the diner, when she came to look at the diner. So I already knew that. I just figure I've suffered 2.5 years. Another year is not going to kill me. I'll just go back working for somebody else like I had just been doing, and I'll just figure it out. I'll make it work. If I've been able to make it work till this point, I'll figure out a way to make it. I really don't want to sell the diner. If I sell the diner, it's because I'm forced to. So if I have to struggle and just basically just get by for the next year so I don't lose my place, then I will. I'm willing to do whatever I can, Right now I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall. I have the diner for sale and I'm waiting on this grant. If this grant doesn't go through, I'm gonna have to sell. I have no choice. But if this does go through and these people want to help me next week, there's a good chance that everything will come full circle and actually the stars will align in my favor. I mean, that's all I can do is just like hope for the best. That's what I've been doing.
Understood. Oh, I'm sorry, go on.
No, I'm sorry, Ryan. If I could, I'd also like to speak through.
Sorry, you're super faint for me. I don't know if you are for other folks as well.
I am incredibly soft-spoken, and I have to remember not to do that when I'm on a call. I just wanted to speak on Roberta's last question a little bit as well. As the small business liaison in East, we do a lot of grant applications with small businesses is something that we help with frequently, as well as licensing and permitting. So we have been providing guidance as far as that. And we have identified, and I do think it was on the presentation, a grant that we are currently looking at applying to, and a couple more that we've applied to in the past, and another that would actually be a perfect fit for this project. So we are in process and are looking at those already as well. And there's a plan for that moving forward. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Anybody else? David?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. What was the amount that you're looking for from us? Was it around 100? Was that? I think I saw it quickly on the screen.
74,365.
Okay, and the other there was a 24 for something else. That wasn't okay. I do want to like echo some of my colleagues. I appreciate and applaud your persistence in trying to fix this. I was very dismayed to see the application. Why this happened, and I'm also really glad to hear that you've got this preservation designation coming. And hopefully that will help bring the real culprits to bear, and so hopefully their resources can help you so that you're not you against Goliath. And mostly I just wanted to call and thank I was just glad that you kind of found us, and I obviously I can't read the tea leaves as to how things will go, but I just wanted to thank you for coming and reaching out to us.
And thank you for letting me apply, and mostly thank you to, if it wasn't for these Somerville Main Streets, I wouldn't even know anything about this. So it's like so helpful. And I do appreciate all you guys like listening to my story. So thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. Great job. Glad you're here, and we will let you know if any other questions come through, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good
All right.
night.
Thank you very, very
Bye.
much. Okay. Let's go on to number 4. This will be the Veterans Memorial Cemetery and Monuments, the construction phase. If you're able to admit the folks, Roberta.
All right. And if anyone, I would ask, thank you. I see a hand raised. I am just. promoting the folks. And I will open their presentation. And prepare to share the presentation. Oh, I missed one of you.
You should have Tom Gorman as well.
I'm trying to promote there. Okay, it worked this time. Thank you.
Alrighty.
And I will share your presentation, Joyce, right now.
Excellent. All right. We see it.
Yep. And
All
I
right.
will.
I'll turn over the floor to the reps for the Veterans Commission.
So I'll go ahead and just get us an intro. So we're with the Department of Veteran Services, ourselves on behalf of the City of Somerville Veteran Services and the Veterans Commission for the Monuments, Memorials, and Dedications. Tonight we have myself from the Veteran Service Office, as well as our director, our commissioner, Tom Gorman, will be presenting today. And we also have our conservator also, just in case of any questions, Josh Crane from the Dallas. So I'll go ahead and have Tom get us rolling. Thanks, everyone.
Good evening. Thank you all for having us. I'd like to make a little presentation of our slides here. We have several requests for restoration of monuments. Our priority is the World War II cemetery located up on Broadway and off by North Street. The main focus is, as you enter that, we see this granite statue. There's been a lot of spalling on the granite. The concrete joints, the mortar have to be replaced. And on the back of that is a list of 409 Somerville residents that were killed in World War II. Someone made an attempt to restore it, and it wasn't done with a historical perspective, which kind of worsened the condition of it. So we'd like to have the granite fixed, the joints mortared, and that bronze plaque refinished. That would be the first part of that project. The second part of it would be behind that monument as you enter the cemetery. There's a cemetery with 69 grave markers of Somerville residents that were killed in different wars, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and one soldier from Lebanon. Those markers are quite damaged by the environment due to the time they've been there, and we'd like to have those restored and refinished in a historical perspective. And some of them have settled, so we'd like to have them even with the grade of the landscape up there. The next part of that restoration up there is there's a marker, a granite marker with a bronze bust of Lieutenant James Logan. That just has to, just due to the environmental factors of the granite and the bronze bust have to be refinished and restored. The next thing, there's two granite markers, one recognizing service in the Korean War and one in the Vietnam War. They just same thing, environmental pollutants kind of, they have to be cleaned with a historical perspective, more than a power wash. And that would be for the everything for the cemetery up there. And then there's some other sites around the city that have to be that need to be restored. And we respect the fact that money's tight, but it's an important thing to me and a lot of other people in the city. In Union Square, there's a World War I memorial. It was dedicated in 1920. And the same thing, it's been down there over 100 years through the pollutants and environmental. It could be historically preserved. The next monument that we're concerned about restoring is the Civil War Memorial on the Milk Row Cemetery on Somerville Ave. This Civil War Memorial is the first memorial to the Civil War dedicated in the country. So it's quite old. It was dedicated in the 1860s. So it's quite aged. It needs to be restored. The joints have to be repaired, and it needs a good cleaning. And the next one is there's at Trumfield, there's a World War II monument dedicated to the residents of Magoon Square that were killed during World War II. There's 35 names on there, 35 guys from the neighborhood, my neighborhood. Henry Hanson's up there. Same thing, just the granite has to be cleaned with a historical perspective. And there is a gold star there that needs to be cleaned to signify the deaths. And the last monument that we have is there's a memorial in East Somerville, in front of the library down in East Somerville. It's dedicated to veterans that served in the wars that were from East Somerville. And it's the same thing. It needs to be cleaned up. There's a lot of growth around it. It got to be cleaned up and restored. That's our request.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. I think hopefully folks have seen this. This looks like this matches what came through in the request documentation. So maybe with that, we can open up to questions if that's, oh no, I'll let you maybe talk to the timeline if you'd like.
Well, the request was, we were hoping that the Veterans Cemetery could be ready for Memorial Day 2026 for the ceremony that we have up there every year. I just learned listening to the earlier presentations that decisions are made. It might take a few months before we even find out if we're eligible to get funding. So I don't know if that's, can happen.
That's true, but it is helpful to know your goals for the timing. So appreciate you sharing that. Okay, just in the interest of moving us along, I will open us up for questions. Anybody want to jump in? I'm happy to start. I see in the proposal that the single biggest line item is the fence assembly, right? The 120,000, and there's a possibility that the city may be able to fund that via DPW. What do you believe the odds are, and what is the timing of a decision on the city being able to fund that from another bucket?
Hi, Ryan. My name is Nancy again. So I'll take that question. So we did reach out to DPW, and it's not something that they could fund. However, it is not one of those priorities as much as the cemetery itself, and that's why we kind of set it to the bottom. As far as if we could get that, it would be the grave markers, the monuments itself, and the statue at the Veteran Cemetery. So at this time, when we asked, it was that the DPW will not fund that.
Understood. Okay, that's helpful to know. Thank you. All right, anybody else on CPC with questions or comments?
Yeah, real quick, just on the fence again. Is it an historical fence? Does it qualify? For
Yes, it does. Because it's part of the cemetery. So of course it encloses, so it kind of preserves it from keeping it protected. But it is part of of course they've tried painting it over or cleaning it, and of course with the environment, that's what happened to like the fencing. Josh, if you're on, are you able to jump in for that one? Well, yeah, so it's on the report as well too, but
Yeah, hey Nancy, yeah, I'm pretty sure that says that it was put up when the cemetery was put up. I'm pretty sure it's probably from the,
Yeah.
at least
Yeah,
80.
because I'm not suggesting, that you don't need the new fence or it was not part of it. It's just more a question of
Yeah,
the fine tooth comb of the CPC program, whether it's eligible as a historical, artifact.
sure. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it's definitely a historic wrought iron, handmade old fence. So
Okay. And also I appreciate, the way you're kind of phasing it. So that's going to be really helpful because as you probably gathered, funding is tight.
Okay. Any last questions? All right, hearing none, we will let you guys drop. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for the great presentation.
thank you,
and proposal.
everyone. Thank you for the upper. Thank you.
All right. Next, we have the Grace Baptist Church exterior restoration project.
I can just take one moment to arrange the guests. I want to acknowledge, I didn't notice exactly when he joined, but I wanted to acknowledge that CPC member Joe Capuano has joined the meeting. There is, I see a hand raised for Sean Willett, who's here to represent the Grace Baptist Church project. So Sean, please introduce yourself while I bring up your presentation.
Roberta, if you don't mind, I'd actually like to skip the presentation, if
Okay.
that's all right. I know
that
everyone's
is
seen
totally
this.
fine.
I know everyone's seen this scope of work, and I want to be as cognizant of our time as possible.
Yeah.
So if we need to bring it up, if that helps answer a question, I'm pleased to do that. But I'd like to try to do this verbally for everyone's sake. Real quick, thanks everyone. My name is Sean Willett. I'm an architect and the preservationist with the Spencer Preservation Group. I've been fortunate to have taken over as the architect and the grant coordinator some 12 months ago or so after our architect John Hecker entered into a much-deserved retirement for this project. I would like to first acknowledge him and all his prior work, which brought us to this long-awaited point, and I'm very energized and eager to bring this active work over the finish line and look towards the future. I'm also happy to represent the Somerville Hispanic Association for Community Development, or SHA4CD, an organization that needs no introduction. They are the stewards of the historic Perkins Street Baptist, or also known as the Grace Baptist Church, built in 1900, and they've long served the Somerville community through food assistance with their robust food pantry program, educational and social services, community gathering spaces, and we hope one day to restart their long dormant soup kitchen program should a future non-CPA funding allow us to upgrade and bring their commercial kitchen up to modern code. So as an aside, please keep an eye out for that work someday and help us support that effort when the time comes and it's right. But back to the task at hand, SHA4CD has been a highly privileged recipient of several prior CPA grants and others, totaling nearly $2 million. Cumulatively, it funded the partial restoration of their building's envelope, including slate roofing, wood windows, brick masonry, and structural improvements. And most recently, we're all very aware of this, eagerly watching from the sidelines. They undertook a highly complex, a multi-grant effort combining CPA and ARPA funds to make the building accessible to all, not least of which includes a full-service 3-stop elevator and exterior handicap entry. We're very pleased to report that the project is approaching completion, and we anticipate those funds to be appropriately expended by the end of this calendar year, which is a huge win. In fact, today we were discussing the final paint color selection for the interior and ensuring that the interior space is already being set aside for the arrival of hundreds of children's gifts. First week of December for the Toys for Tots program, which I learned that SHA4CD has newly engaged with this year for the holiday season. Now, with that accessibility project complete, the building stewards are looking and turning their attention back to the envelope for one more push to support the newly revitalized interior and accessible spaces. This includes wood window restoration, storm windows to help improve energy efficiency, a little bit of brick repointing, the extension of the fence to keep folks safe off the street on the play yard, very targeted. And it's important for me to make really clear to everyone that this proposed CPA grant is highly focused on a particular and very achievable scope of work. It's not another extension to the current grants. It's not part of another future multi-phase grant. It's targeted and ready to execute. And lastly, while the specifics are not called out for directly in this application, I've spoken with Roberta and others about the prospect of using this grant to help fund the installation of a sensitively designed commemorative plaque that acknowledges the City of Somerville, the Community Preservation Committee, the Massachusetts Historic Commission, and the many other grants. The list goes on that have generously funded the revitalization and transformation of this historic space. It really is a privilege to have worked on it and have the opportunity to continue on working on it. They're a great program, and I thank you for your time and your consideration. If you have any questions about specifics, I'm happy to answer them.
Excellent. Thanks, Sean, and great job as always. I have a question, but I'll let other folks on the CPC jump in first if anybody wants to comment or question.
Please.
All right, hearing none, I'll just ask mine. So I just wanted to clarify the scope specifically here as I'm looking at the application. So this is the request is for funds to move from basically schematic drawings to construction drawings, permit set drawings, I would guess, and then also for the actual bricks and mortar that is detailed in those drawings, or is this just specifically to the drawings work?
No, this would be for actually executing and undertaking the work in addition. So we need to prepare the Schaffer CD needs the grant in order to fund the final construction documents. The good news is this is very similar work to what we've already done. So we're not starting from scratch, but the grant would be funding the construction documentation, competitive bidding, and the actual funding of the construction itself.
Got it. And the assumption is that the competitive bidding process lands somewhere near the estimate for the actual bricks and mortar that's included in this request, I'm sure.
Yes, when we develop our cost estimates, not to I shouldn't use the word brag, but when we put together cost estimates, we draw those directly from similar projects in similar areas. We actually use real world construction data and we reverse engineer it to come up with average cost of window restoration. We don't use Google or online estimates. We use real world data that we see every single day. So they're not never perfect, but they're not guesswork by any means.
Understood. Okay. Thank you. Any of my other colleagues with questions or comments?
I guess, well, first of all, it is a special building, and I am really glad that it's made all this progress and that you've come this far. But going back to how competitive the rounds are this year, you know, should it have to wait until next year's funding round? How would that affect efficiencies or anything
I would say
like that?
our biggest concern is the energy efficiency of the windows. That's really the driving factor of this. Nobody wants to say we can slice and dice the project up and stretch it along, but I'll be candid with you. Brick masonry repointing, it can go another year if it really needs to. It's really the windows, the storm windows that are causing a lot of heat loss and a lack of energy efficiency, especially with all the work that they've invested in the interior of a building. That really is driving this need.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Hearing none, I think we can let you go. Thank you very much, as always, for your work and for the presentation.
Thank you.
I appreciate all your time and consideration, folks. Thank you.
All right. Cheers. Oops. Sorry, I put myself on mute. Let's move on to the Somerville Museum, Preservation of Selected Historic Resources.
All right. I will advance Barbara Mangum, and if there's anyone else here to join us from the museum, please let us know.
Hey, Barbara.
Hi, I'm just getting my video up.
No worries.
And I will share your presentation.
Sure. Okay. Shall I go ahead and start?
Yes,
Sure.
please, go ahead.
Thanks.
Okay. First of all, I know that you all wanted a recap of, the tremendous amount of funding that we have received from the CPA over the past, actually, it's been now a decade. We're very, very grateful to that. And if you've been to the museum building, you can see just what a tremendous difference it's made. And we have such a beautiful building now, and it's accessible to, all floors, and just really quite wonderful. So far the improvements from the CPA have funded nearly $2 million worth of work. There's another actual about 1,700,000 that has been funded else by other organizations and, grants and donors and things like that. So the whole amount that we combined have spent on the building over the past decade, plus a little bit more, is about $3.5 million. So it's tremendous. And we're just very grateful to all the sources of funding that have helped us get there. We had over 600,000 just from the people of Somerville, which we never thought we could do otherwise. Do you have any questions about this before I move on? Okay. So this was asked by Roberta to kind of present a priorities list like I have done in the past. So this year, since this is a really about conservation of specific objects, I just divided it into two sections that I thought were viable. The highest priority, and I have some pictures of these, which I think we could go ahead and look at, and then I'll maybe come back to this after we see them. So do you want to advance me or I'll advance? So this is the top priority. And first of all, I should say I didn't really feel totally comfortable saying priority 1 and priority 2 because this is our priority. The whole group is our highest priority for the collections. So so in this case, I'm looking at both the significance to Somerville history and also the urgency needed to keep these pieces from deteriorating further. And so the highest priority here are these 3 frames of the Russell family. They are from 1840. They're the original frames. And the painting that's associated with them is Mary Russell. She's the one in the middle. And she has a tear at the very top. And we want to make sure that we can conserve that painting before the tear gets any worse. But these are actively flaking. You can see on the left there just the number of fragments that we keep and then try to, glue back in place as we can. And then the ultimate goal is that it will be completely restored. And then these pieces can go on view because right now we can't even really put them on view. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So these I just continued in this highest priority again, based on the certainly their significance to Somerville history, and again, how urgent the need for care is. So the first one here is Columbus Tyler. You all already funded the conservation of the painting, which you see there just as a little stamp. And then also there was an inner frame. And what happened is that we found as we were going through the collections and getting them better organized that we had the outer frame. So this is the frame. Excuse me. I'll just take a sip of water. So what you're seeing here on the left is a sheath of wheat that's been carved in gilt, only it's in really bad shape. And so the whole frame just really needs to be worked on, or there's not going to be that much left. The chair on the right is the GAR chair, so that's the Grand Army of the Republic, which was a veterans group formed after the Civil War. It was formed actually in 1866, and we think that this chair was probably the chair that first served that organization, because it's a chair that was then recovered in kind of this folk art manner to be the chair of the Guardians of the Grand Army of the Republic, with suitable kind of symbolism. And you can see it's in pretty bad shape. And unfortunately for textiles, you know, like especially in that seat where it's stained, that the textile itself becomes very brittle and tears generally along that seam between something that's in better condition and something that's worse. Okay, can we see the next one? Next slide. This is also high priority, and this is really based on significance. This is Rebecca Adams. This is also a portrait of about 1840. You can see that it has, if you look around, very high craquelure of the paint itself, and it's losing the tops of the paint flakes. And also you can see that the frame itself, which was originally gilt, has been painted with radiator paint. And you can see that somebody has left their smudgy fingerprints all over the top. And so Rebecca Adams is a pretty important figure in Somerville history. She's the daughter of Anna Adams, who was one of those people who, well, she was actually known as kind of the person who went out and nursed the soldiers who were wounded at Bunker Hill. She lived on Prospect Hill. And so this is her whole family. And again, we feel like she has an important story to tell. So if we could see the next slide. I just lumped all the furniture together because I didn't think I would have a lot of time to talk about each one individually. But I didn't, again, say, you know, priority 2, because these are all really high priority items for the museum. You know, these are furniture is a way that people can really relate to the past, and they each have a story to tell. So we have the Derby desk, which you see on the right here. So the image right in front, you can see it says the museum's Derby desk style typewriter desk. And you're seeing the front and you're seeing the back there. And then on the right, I just wanted to show you what a bona fide Derby desk looks like. And on the right lower side, you see this is one of their catalogs. So we believe that our desk is either a Derby desk or a very close competitor's, you know, similar piece. But it is authentic. It is to the 1900s, and it does represent, you know, the history of Somerville at the time, the Derby desk factory, and just what people were doing in terms of office furniture and efficiency. On the lower left, you see this is Sam Walter Foss, who was the librarian in Somerville at the turn of the century. And this is his favorite chair. And when he died, he was so beloved that somebody kept the chair and gave it to the museum. And we don't know who that was, but we do know that it's been with the collection ever since. He died in 1911. And this is his tufted Turkish chair. So in this case, we are planning on reupholstering it with leather, which is what this is a false leather, but we want to do a very similar appearance in leather so that we can also gently use this piece with the public for having like Poets' Night and Authors' Nights and other kinds of community events like that. So it will be used very gently. And then the top piece that you see is actually our most important piece, according to the a furniture conservator who came to the museum in the 1980s, who is actually also a curator of American art. And this is a 18th century piece, and it was gifted by Lucy Edmond, who was a descendant of the Stone family in her will. She left it in her will to us. And is one part of a chest on chest. And you can see here that it is missing quite a few of the escutcheons. And in talking with the conservator, Chris Shelton, who will undertake the restoration, he has someone who can provide us 8 of these, which is what we need in order to restore them onto the piece of furniture. And then it will, I think people will look at it and understand that this is a chest on chest or piece of a chest on chest. So
Those are,
if we go
those
back,
are, those are fantastic. I'm loving seeing the history on these. We are at 10 minutes, so I want to, if
Okay.
there's a summary slide or a,
well, I was just going to go back to the priorities so that you could see
Okay.
the cost of all of these.
that'd be great.
Yeah, so here's the cost of all of these. As I said, you know, I've kind of arranged them so the priority 1 are primarily the painting and the frames, except for the GAR chair because it's so fragile. And then the priority 2 are those other pieces of furniture you saw on the second slide there or the third slide. And then that's pretty much it. I've
That's-
got tremendous talent of conservators working on these, you know, the paintings conservation. He was the painting conservator is actually was the conservator, he just retired, but he was at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Before that, he was at the Fogg Art Museum as their painting conservator. The textile conservators have worked on, you know, major works from, you know, the Smithsonian and others. And Chris Shelton is likewise, you know, just a fantastic treasure for us to have and be able to work with in terms of conserving these works of art.
That's awesome to hear. The reconciliation that you put together there is really, really helpful. That's a great view for us as we navigate through. So with that, I would love to see if any questions or comments from my CPC folks.
No, I guess I would just give you a shout out for all the good work you've been doing and for a really clear grant proposal and, you know, just support and all the good work that you've done.
Yeah, great.
Thank
I
you
think it was
so
very,
much.
very good proposal.
Whenever I walk into the Somerville Museum now, I just can't believe how far we've come. It's just really amazing. So thank you all.
That's fantastic. Time for one more. Anybody with any other questions, comments?
I'd just like to make a comment that Roberta is fantastic to work with.
We agree, Barbara. We do agree. All right, excellent. Thank you so much, Barbara. Really appreciate it. And
Okay, thanks so much.
we'll be in touch. Yep, sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, on to our final 4, which are, I believe, related. Let's go to the Blessing of the Bay Linear Park improvements next, please.
All right. And I am advancing Meg Coughlin.
Am I correct that these are all PISA for our final 4 here?
They are.
All right.
And I'm advancing. We have different people who are speaking for the different projects. So for the first one, I'm advancing. Meg Coughlin has joined us and Michelle Libetro from Mystic River Watershed Association.
Excellent. Thanks for bearing with us, folks. I know we tucked you in here in the final bits, but we appreciate it.
And I'm going to invite you all to introduce yourselves while I prepare to share the screen. All right.
All right, I think we've got Meg and Michelle on here. So if you are ready, you can take it away.
So I know Meg is the lead, so I assume she's just jumping on. I think I was just here to, oh, it looks
Meg,
like,
we see
she's
your,
been talking.
we,
Okay.
we see your note, but your icon says you're muted.
Okay.
There you are.
And video. Okay, thank you. I am like between too many different platforms. I didn't see this one on Zoom. So you can hear me and see me now.
We can hear you anyways, but that's okay.
Good evening. As I said, well, I guess you didn't hear me before when I was on mute. I'm Meg Coughlin. I'm a public space planner on the public space and urban forestry team. Roberta, could you go back to the first slide, actually?
Sorry.
Thank you. That's okay.
I didn't realize I was
So
advanced.
the committee's already funded the design phase of the Blessing of the Bay Linear Park improvements. And this project is to create enhanced recreational green open space in Somerville, including 667 households in the adjacent Mystic Housing Authority developments within this environmental justice community. And tonight, as we just met, Shelby Liebetrow from the Mystic River Watershed Association joins me here to ask for additional funding that will support the project implementation. So go on to the next. And since 2017, this initiative has been a partnership between the community, the city of Somerville, the Mystic River Watershed Association, and our design team led by Offshoots. Next. This project will transform an underutilized 5-acre park into a welcoming recreational destination featuring 85 new shade trees that provide critical urban heat mitigation, 1,520 square feet of new native plantings, expanded park footprint by 24,000 square feet, enhanced accessibility through a 12-foot wide recreational path, and then accessible benches, interpretive signage, and green stormwater infrastructure. The image that I have drawn here between the pink would be the section of where you see the work. And then as you go off to the left, that's the Mystic River. And as you go off to the right, that would be Shore Drive Road. Next slide. We're swiftly moving forward toward construction beginning in late spring 2026. Next slide. And your 686,925 in CPA funding thus far has successfully leveraged another 2.5 million in additional state and private support, which demonstrates strong confidence in this project from multiple funding partners. We've met 90% of project funding, securing over 3.2 million to date. Next. We're requesting 347,178 today to avoid returning off cycle and requesting additional rewards. We want to respect your ability to plan your budget effectively. And next slide. And Myra has also been engaging private foundations to cover potential cost escalations. As you alluded to in some of the earlier presentations, we absolutely expect cost escalations. The budget that we have is already covering a 15% contingency, but we expect more than that. Through our other PSEF projects, we've been seeing the costs rise each year and plan for that scenario. Next. And together, well, this project responds directly to community needs that were identified in the 2018 planning process, where 78% of respondents supported improved paths and enhanced amenities. We're creating accessible recreational open space that provides urban heat mitigation, improved air quality, and inclusive green open recreation space in a neighborhood where 51 to 60% of households are low to moderate income. And thank you for your consideration and continued support.
Excellent. Thank you. Questions from the CPC? David?
No, I didn't.
Oh, sorry. I thought I saw you
Sorry.
come off mute. My
No,
fault.
I wasn't on mute.
Gotcha. Okay.
I did actually have a quick question. What size trees are you planning to put in?
They will be fully mature trees. I don't have the tree list up in front of me. But the green infrastructure that you see in that section drawing on the boulevard has these tree trenches with the idea of filtering the storm water. That doesn't go the whole length of the greenway. That's in portions. But then there's structural soil beneath the path so that the tree roots do have plenty of room to grow without buckling up the path, so that they'll grow toward the river and toward the slope of the water. And then similarly, the trees in the lawn area, gosh, a height estimate. I mean, we're planting like maples and things like that, which will, so that they don't.
But do you know like kind of what diameter trunk like you're kind of aiming for? I mean, so these are new saplings. These aren't like the
At planting phase.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've specified the DBH quite yet. But usually, I mean, that is a big cost consideration. Because bigger trees cost more money.
No, I understand. Yeah.
So yeah, I think we already did a pretty strict value engineering, but yes, that's something we want to take into consideration. We also had Vanessa Bukili do sort of a further review of the tree list that our landscape architects already did. They're the same landscape architects who worked on our pollinator action plan, so we feel very good about their capacity with horticulture and extra great with Vanessa doing another pass on trees.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Meg, I noticed that the biggest line item in the request to us is actually for an ad alternate related to pedestrian scale lighting. Ad alt meaning, you know, an addition beyond what was originally the base contract.
Yes.
Can you just talk about why that wasn't in the base scope, and if this is kind of additional work that's being taken on, or how does this fit in?
Yeah, very good question. And it's good we bring it up because we've made design changes since. So we had it in an adult for cost reasons, because the most important lighting was there's 3. We initially thought it was 2 at the time of the application of the larger lights that are already there, where there's currently a gap, dark spots in the path. And so, and then we just did a recent study finding we actually need 3 of those. The additional would have been more pedestrian level, dark sky style lights. And we ultimately decided to remove them in part 1 for cost, and 2, because we don't think the neighbors would enjoy looking at those. And we've gotten feedback on that before and felt it was important to respect that in this residential area. But so removing that, it's been sort of a remove one thing and decrease costs there, and then other costs going up a bit with the phases where we were at 75% design at time of application. So I think with that right now, we added more trees because of moving. We did a gas line survey with ground penetrating radar because it was sort of coming up where that tree trench was. So we had to shift part of the design from Putnam Road and west, which is about half of it. So between removing one thing, adding other, we're in the same ballpark more or less.
Okay, got it. Understood. And I'm sure that whatever those funds, those would-be funds are pivoted to would also be eligible cost. I would guess that as we move towards voting in December, we probably would want to see an updated version of the grant application budget form that just confirms which buckets those go to if that ad alt is not happening. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Time maybe for one more. Anybody else on the committee? All right.
Thank you for your time
Hearing none, we
today.
can let you go. Thanks, Meg. Great job. Okay. Next is Mystic Open Space Recreation Improvements.
And I am advancing Ryan Kaminsky and Andrew Rocha. I'm okay. Ryan Kaminsky, are you expecting to give your presentation alone or your introduction?
Yeah, we have no presentation.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Andrew has joined us.
Andrew Rochat, no, his hand went down, so I wanted to make sure that it was your intention for him to join us. Here he comes. Oh, now he's. Oh, he declined to be promoted. Allowed to talk.
I can get going.
Okay, there he is. Okay.
So I'm Ryan Comiskey. I'm with the Somerville Housing Authority, and I work with Andrew. He's newly our operations manager. So I'll just get right into the scope and the phase of our project. Phase one, we plan to renovate our garden area. Right now, the garden it's in tough shape. It's overrun. So we plan on developing some portable raised garden beds throughout the whole development. And also, we would like to improve our outdoor seating area. So right now, between every building, we just have an asphalt roadway. There's nowhere for residents to convene rather than on the street. So that's phase one for our project. Then phase two would be a revamp of our basketball court, as well as turfing our Mystic Activity Center building. We have a yard out front of the building. I haven't seen grass grow there. I've been at the housing authority for 3 years now, so it'd be nice to put turf down so all the kids can play. Then finally, phase three, we have a couple of obsolete play areas throughout the development, um, very run down. So we would also like to revamp those areas with new playground equipment. I'm not sure if you guys have any budget questions.
If you would like, I also have some photos to provide examples if people
Yeah.
would like to see that.
Yeah, are you trying to share them, Roberta?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thanks, sorry.
No problem.
This is Andrew Rocha. Can you hear me?
Hey, Andrew,
Yes.
yes, we can.
Oh, okay, can you see me?
We cannot, but that's all
Okay.
right.
So this is our current basketball court in the gardens at the moment.
Yep.
We actually did get a cost. This is dating back to 2022 now for a new basketball court. That cost came in at around 35,000. It definitely has gone up since.
Okay.
And this is an example of what community
Yeah.
garden beds in a public housing development might look like.
Understood. Okay. Thank you. I've a couple questions I'm happy to start us off with, and then I can open up to the other folks. So the request here is for $50,000. I know you, I mean, you just mentioned off the cuff that the basketball court improvements alone could be 35,000 of that. So I guess has there been thought about what pieces specifically this 50,000 would be going towards?
Yeah, so this 50,000 will be going towards phase one and any engineering costs for the basketball court and the turf.
Okay, so drawings and studies for basketball court and turf,
Yeah.
and then bricks and mortar if you want for the raised garden beds area.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I
Understood.
believe that we're well aware that this project is going to be phased out through time.
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to do everything at once.
Gotcha. Understood. And then my one follow-up question for that before I open it up. you mentioned that some of the garden areas today are run down in need of some love. Is the expectation that if the new beds are funded, there is any operating dollars to help maintain the new beds, or will they kind of be left to the care of the residents? How do we ensure it's a different outcome?
So as of right now, the residents take care of the garden. And I believe, Andrew, what is it, 6 residents that are currently using the garden?
Yeah, we have approximately 10 residents that are involved with the community garden at this point. But I mean, we'd like to see that expanded. I know that we had, previous partnerships with, community organizations that helped support us in the past. With COVID, I think a lot of things kind of went by the wayside and people went their separate ways. And so we'd kind of like to breathe new life into it with structuring programming again around the community garden to better support it moving forward.
Okay, understood. So it's not expected that there are explicitly operating dollars in the SHA budget or anywhere else to maintain the beds, but hopefully through increased programming, increased engagement from the residents, it'll be kind of maintained in a different way than before.
Yeah, and we have a stronger relationship now with our Mystic Tenant Association as well. That serves the 400 plus families that live there. So I think it would be a great opportunity, even for new youth programming that didn't exist in the past.
Excellent, understood. John?
All right, I got 2 questions for you. So the first question is, when you say turf, do you mean synthetic turf or natural grass turf?
Synthetic. Yep.
Okay. I do not believe that the CPA is allowed to fund synthetic turf. And I know the city of Somerville is kind of more in favor of natural grass turf. So just please reach out to the PSF department to kind of start those conversations about synthetic turf, because we're trying to move away from using the synthetic turf in the city. Our second, and we have projects of natural grass fields that we can kind of assist you with that have kind of been successful, but deal with kind of higher use. The second question I have for you is the basketball courts. Obviously you said you're going to get an engineer, so you'll know more about this later, but were you hoping to just do a seal coat, so like repainting the graphics on it, or is there structural degradation on the courts where you need to repave the asphalt as well?
We would need to repave the
Okay.
asphalt. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you very much. This is a very exciting project.
Thanks, John. Roberta?
Thanks. I actually want to reiterate what John just mentioned, that Community Preservation Act funds under the state legislation are actually prohibited from paying for the design or installation of artificial turf surfaces. I understand that you're also looking for funding from other sources. I really appreciate John's invitation to work with PSF to identify alternatives for anything that will be CPA funded, but the city has also in the past used other sources to pay for artificial turf in conjunction with CPA projects, so that they were able to bring multiple funding sources to be able to address different parts of the recreation facilities.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Roberta. David, one more.
Yeah, just real quick. How many portable raised beds are you talking about in phase 1? It sounds like you had 10 engaged gardeners, but you want to expand. I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah,
what
I
the
believe
scope
that
is.
would be a resident survey that we would put by first, just to get a ballpark number, how many residents would be interested.
So the budget's not specific to, this will pay for 10 or 15 or 20 or
Yeah,
anything like
yeah,
that.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. With that, I think we can let you guys go. Thank you very much, Ryan and Andrew. Nice
Sorry,
work.
I have
Oh,
a
go on,
quick
Heather.
question.
Sorry, go on.
How many? And I'm sorry, my internet blocked me out for a moment. But how many families are at Mystic Valley Housing?
It's around 400, I believe, 200
Yeah.
in our federal site and 200 in our state site.
Yeah, it's a large community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank.
Thanks,
Thanks, Heidi.
guys.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, let's go now to the Kennedy Schoolyard renovation.
All right. I'm prepared to show a presentation for this, but I also wanted to acknowledge that since this is a lightning round of presentations that we've been giving, and I believe we have some people in the audience who may be here, I'm making an assumption, to show support for the Kennedy School. I'd love to invite folks to raise your hand if you are an attendee and are here specifically to show support for the Kennedy School.
Great, thanks, Roberta.
Yeah, I see one attendee raised their hand. Again, I put in the chat earlier that we have a form that we invite people. Oh, I see more folks who've raised their hands. Kat Johnston, Nicole Cannon, Roxanne Screama. And there are a few more folks who may also be here to give their support. So I wanted to acknowledge that you've been in present all evening and to invite you to show your support via the form that we have available for public comment. And with that, I will prepare to share the presentation. And I would also say that it is Ryan, your choice whether we have time this evening or need to keep to our tight schedule for hearing public comment live.
Okay, let's see how we move.
All right. And I am lost on my screen, but I will find you in a second. Share.
Thank you, Roberta. And thank you, everyone who's in attendance in support of this project. I really appreciate everyone taking the time to speak about this project. So my name is John Browningcant. I am the Senior Public Space Planner for Public Space and Urban Forestry, and I am also the project manager for the Kennedy Schoolyard renovation project. Next slide, please. So this project is located kind of near Porter Square along Elm Street. Next slide, please. More specifically, our project area includes the basketball courts and bus drop-off and parking area located on the corner of Cherry Street and Elm Street. Next slide, please. So we're currently working through the design phase of this project. We're working with CBA Landscape Architects to work through first a few schematic designs and then a preferred final design that we put into construction bid documents. So we've currently been engaging primarily with the school, but also with the community. Community engagement kind of follows more in later October and into November. But we've been meeting with school administration to talk about their priorities for the space. And here you can see a few of our goals for the Kennedy Schoolyard that we've relayed to our landscape architects. So we really need to stress community collaboration on this project. Obviously, it's going to be our first inclusive playground. So prioritizing inclusive play, making sure that all these elements are accessible and meet all the social emotional needs that inclusive to play defines. Also sustainability and resiliency, shade and comfort, educational features, pollinator and tree support, and some site reconfiguration. Obviously, the site feels a little disjointed. The entrance feels a little bit lost. There are a lot of opportunities to kind of reformat the space to expand the playground, to make better drop-offs, to make a more seamless and safer experience at the Kennedy School. Next slide, please. So speaking about that design, so we're currently working through our teacher engagement. A few weeks ago, we met with the school at one of their professional development days to talk about their needs for the space and talk about our preliminary ideas. We've also released an initial survey to those teachers with a subsequent community survey coming out in the next week or so, just pending translation. school input and community input is going to happen over the next few months, especially with a community meeting. I know it says early November, but it's probably going to be mid-November at this point, where we have our first community meeting where we present 3 schematic designs, followed by a second community meeting in mid-December to show our preferred design. Also, additional surveys and additional flyering events kind of happen throughout that event. If we receive CPA funding for this project, and that is a heavy if, we are looking to put the project out to bid this winter, so winter 2026, to begin construction summer 2026. This project, because it is so large, is going to be phased over 2 summers. We want to focus a lot of our construction work over those 2 summers because it is a school and it needs to remain, there needs to be some outdoor space remaining for the students kind of during the school year. So we need to be cognizant of that during the construction. So construction will take about 2 years. Next slide, please. So I'm here today to request our current CPA request, which is for $1 million. We also do anticipate coming back to the CPA in November for an additional request of $2 million. And this request would be a bonding request from the CPA, resulting in a total funding request for construction for $3 million. If you go to the next slide, Roberta, I can explain the bonding request a little bit quickly. So at this current meeting, I'm presenting on our $1 million request, but also just preliminary giving you some information on our $2 million bonding request. In November, I'm going to, after discussions with our finance department, I'm going to present the actual breakdown of that $2 million bonding request. In that breakdown, I'll discuss the costs, interest rates, repayment timelines, and rates for those repayments. If the CPA approves this bonding request and our $1 million request, we hope to get this in front of City Council to expedite it so that we can put the project out to bid in the winter. We just need these funds approved. We don't need them in hand so that we can put the project out to bid. If the project, like I said before, if the project goes out to bid, we look to start construction in summer of 2026. And then before I lead to questions, the last thing I just wanted to say was, since downloading the meeting packet, we received we received 94 comments in support of this project. It is a goal of PSUF's. It is outlined as our top priority in our open space and recreation plan. But clearly it is also a priority of the community to improve this space. So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Great. Thanks, John. Great presentation, as always. Okay, anybody on CPC with comments to start us off or questions? Heather.
So John, so it's this November that you're going to come back with the bonding request.
Correct.
So why not include the entire sum as a bonding request?
I believe after conversations with Roberta, it was decided that it would be simpler to have the bonding request separate as its own application and then our $1 million request. Roberta, I don't know if you want to jump in here.
So the bonding comes with borrowing costs and debt service. So the more that we can pay out of the current year's revenue stream, the lower the overall cost of the project is going to be. So this is why we're splitting between the current year and bonding so that we can take advantage of what we have now and what we're going to need in the future.
Understood. David?
Yeah, hi. I'm trying to understand a little bit. So it sounds like this is all for construction,
Correct.
that you're still actively kind of in the planning and soliciting opinions from the community and the school about
Correct.
what you should construct. But the reason you're coming for money now is because of the expedited speed that you're hoping on actually then beginning construction.
Yes, that is correct. We do have some estimates from previous projects, and we have different calculators we use to estimate projects. I worked heavily with our engineering department's finance specialist to kind of create a very strong estimate for the project. So we are keeping our designers to a specific budget of about $2.5 million, expecting some increases in costs, some increases in those tariffs, and also just some issues that we might kind of hit during the actual construction of the project.
Yeah, and I saw in the narrative discussion, the goal of having shade trees and pollinator beds and so forth. Would you have an idea of like what, because right now I think it's all pretty much tarmac or paved, right?
Correct.
All
It
asphalt.
is 90%
So do you have an idea of
asphalt.
like what percentage you're looking to have as open space or green space as opposed to paved?
So we have had some conversations with the engineering department. I think it's our 10 and 2 conversion. So it's the stormwater conversion where we need to take a 10-year storm in the current condition and make our our proposed design into a 2-year storm. So with it being pretty much all asphalt, we do need to dramatically work on porosity, green spaces, and stormwater diversion on site. Additionally, there's a lot of clay soil on site, so infiltration is going to be a little tricky. So we are kind of focusing on those swales, green infrastructure to kind of capture a lot of that rainwater that we need to deal with on site.
Not porous pavement so much as actual green space.
Well, we'll also look at porous pavement. We'll look at porous rubberized surface. There's 2 types of rubber surfacing we can do, one that's porous, one that's not porous. So there's different ways that we can accomplish our porosity, but we do know that phosphorus reduction is also a key thing. So green infrastructure is really the only way we can really deal with that phosphorus reduction.
Sorry, David, did you have a follow-up?
No, please.
Okay.
No, please follow.
John, forgive me for my relative lack of familiarity with the schools, but I think we have, PSF has brought proposals to CPC before for design and I believe construction on other school playgrounds. First, if you could just confirm for me that that's the case, and then the follow-up is, did those all have ARPA money? What's the difference between this one and some of the other ones where we're seeing this request now?
Yes, we have funded other projects through the CPA, a lot of our playgrounds, specifically schoolyards. The CPA has really helped fund, again, because of that issue of not being able to apply for a bunch of different grants because you need to dedicate that open space in perpetuity, and we can't do that with our schoolyards. So specifically to this site, there's a number of issues. ARPA has kind of dried up in the city. So for the past 5 years or so, you've seen a lot of construction in a lot of our parks, and a lot of those have been funded by ARPA funds. There is some community, I believe for the Healy School, some funds were generated from like a community fund that was gathered through some activism through the Healy School. I can't think of any specific grants other than CPA and ARPA that really funded a lot of our schoolyards, other than just city committed bonding funds.
Okay, understood. So we're filling a gap created by the lack of ARPA that exists now. Understood. Okay. Any other, Michael?
I'm sorry to interrupt real quick. I used to hear a lot about block grants. I was never sure where that came from, but that went, a lot of the playgrounds and parks have to do block grants. Who are they from?
Yeah, so we did look at block grants in this neighborhood, but sadly we don't apply for any of the block grants because of the economic conditions of that neighborhood and the social and there's like 3 different layers for CDBG, and we did check that area, and we don't qualify for any of those funds.
Thanks, John. Michael?
Thanks. A mechanics question with the bonding interaction. So I appreciate that you're trying to create a little bit of a buffer. I think you're around 500K there. If in the case that you do actually come in at a construction cost less than 3 million, do we have the option to kind of defer that savings towards mitigating some of our debt bonding, or does it all have to come back as cash to basically pay back against the first million? How does that work?
So I may be misspeaking here, and if Alan is here or Roberta can correct me if I'm wrong, but when we request, when you approve a bonding request, the city isn't necessarily taking out that full bond all at once. They kind of take it out periodically so that we don't have to incur all these additional costs. So if we, let's say, only go to $2.3 million on this project at the end, we just would never have withdrawn that $0.7 million on this project.
Okay, so that first 1 million though, that would be fully committed. It'd just be that we weren't taking more debt.
Correct.
And similarly, could you potentially come next year and ask for more funds to maybe mitigate some of that debt loading as well?
Yes, that is another option. The key thing to us kind of expediting this $1 million request and the bonding request is because then it gives us the freedom to put the project out to bid because we need our full funds kind of signed off for us to put the project out to bid. But if we don't withdraw that funds and let's say there's obviously this won't be the case, but let's say there's no open space applications next year, we could take that money from that pot and pay forward in that and not ever have to bond that money.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate the urgency here. I just wanted to, I'm sensitive to a large amount of debt being placed on this program in the future. So I just want to think about what options and what creativity we have. So thank you for that.
Of course.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, seeing I think no other hands raised from CPC. Roberta, do you have anybody that wants to comment from the public? I don't want to keep folks on here for too long and not give them the opportunity.
Yeah, I do have 3 people who have their hands raised who said that they were here in support. Perhaps you could keep your hand raised if you would like to be invited to share comments. You can lower your hand if you do not wish to share comments. So I will invite the first person to speak. That is Nicole Cannon.
All right.
Hi, this is Nicole Cannon. I'm going to be fully transparent. Can we jump to the next one and the next resident and then jump back to me? Would that be okay?
Sure, no problem.
Sure thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Who's next, Roberta?
And I'm sorry, Andrew Cannon.
All right.
And I can actually jump to the next person because a few people raised their hands after. So Roxanne Screama.
Okay, so Andrew, if you want to make a comment, you're on mute right now, but if you want to unmute yourself, we'd welcome any comment.
And Kat Johnston.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Hi, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. I'm a parent of 2 kids at the Kennedy and a third on his way. And my oldest son and I actually spoke in support of this project at City Council last fall. We're really excited and appreciative of all of the work that PSOF has done to really expedite this project. We joined the Kennedy community in 2021. And at that point, my son was in kindergarten. We heard about this forthcoming new playground space that families have been advocating for many years before we were part of that community. He is now in 4th grade, and this is his 2nd year using the blacktop, and there's really been no change to that. The Kennedy community has had over 300 students move through this space with the promise of a new playground since 2019, and we still haven't broken ground. So I just want to say that there is so much support from this community, from the children who use this every day. And the need is it's been there for a long time. And so to get to this design phase is really exciting and important. And we just don't want to see it continue to get stalled in construction. So thank you so much.
Understood. Thanks for sticking around with us, Kat. We appreciate you being here. Let's see. Roxanne, I see you are off mute. Would you like to give comment?
Yes, I just want to thank you for having this meeting tonight. And certainly I loved listening to everybody else's proposals. I've been with the Kennedy for 30 years and have watched the back playground change from wood chips and other things and other platforms to what it is now. And I would love to see that front playground work done. I was part of the committee that spent many, many hours before COVID to reconstruct that. And it's just not a school playground, it's a community playground. People come from all over to use our pool. They also go then to the playground, and just cement is not enough for us, I think. I have put in a proposal, not a proposal, but I have written both to the designers my comments over the years, what I've been looking for us to do, as well as filling out things for you guys so that you can understand that people want more than a flat surface. We appreciate you guys getting on tonight and helping listen to all of us share our comments. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Roxanne. Appreciate you being here.
Yep.
Let's go back through Andrew Cannon. We'll give you another shot if you're able to come off mute. I don't know if maybe you're having a tech problem there before.
I see Nicole Cannon just raised her hand.
All right, let's move on to Nicole then. Nicole, are you able to come off mute? I actually don't see Nicole admitted to the meeting anymore, Roberta. Oh, maybe she is.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we got you now. Hi.
I'm so sorry. My husband Andrew is having some technical difficulties. I was
No
trying.
worries.
Yeah, I just wanted to voice my support. I'm a Kennedy parent now of my daughter just entered kindergarten a few weeks ago. She is a mobility aid user. And I just, wanted to express my excitement and my support for this project. There are very limited play options for us in the city. And it's frustrating. And I'm just elated to know that there's a possibility to have a playground in our schoolyard that my daughter can access. I know it means so much to me and to other families that are in some of the specialized programs at Kennedy. We are so happy to be in this community. I want to echo Ms. Skrima's comments. This is a community. We're so happy to be a part of it. And I just want to thank PSUF and the CPA for letting me speak and for your support. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. Glad you were here. All right. Any others? Roberta.
I do not see anyone else who has requested to speak, and
Okay, very good. Well, thanks for captaining that, Roberta, and thanks to the folks that stuck around with us. I know it's a long meeting.
I'm sorry. Did Nicole Cannon just raise her hand again, or was that still? Thank you. Okay.
All right, very good. Okay. Usually, folks, I try to keep us to 8:30. I'm very sorry. Let's blitz through if that's all right, since we're so close to the finish line and people have stuck around for an extended period of time. Let's talk about the Open Space Acquisition Fund.
I can blitz through this one.
I figured you might be able to.
This one should be easy for me. Wait 1 second for PowerPoint.
I do not have a PowerPoint for this.
Wait, it's included with the Kennedy one. If you just keep going down, because I knew they were back to back, I just kind of smushed them all in one presentation.
I didn't see it.
Sorry, I'm now realizing I should have separated them for.
Nope, now I see it. Nope, okay, so I am pulling up your PowerPoint.
It's right after the super cool tiger slide.
Yes, there we are. Oh, but I'm not sharing it, am I?
No, you're not.
Okay, let me get coordinated for you. Okay, now you can see. Now I'm going to click to show the slideshow, and I have to go. There we go.
Thank you, Roberta. Okay, so the second thing I'm here to ask for is about the Open Space Acquisition Fund. So we are, if you would go to the next slide, a few of the questions that came up were, what were the previous acquisitions? Where do we currently stand with our funds and why, what are we looking for in acquisition properties. So our previous acquisitions, we technically haven't made any acquisitions with our actual open space acquisition funds, although we did acquire the Glen Park Community Garden. We acquired a small parcel next to that community garden and were able to expand that community garden. So the CPA awarded $500,000 for that acquisition of the property, but this was before the open space acquisition fund was created. Next slide, please. So currently in our bank, we have $800,000 in those funds, comprised of 4 years of contributions to that, ranging from $50,000 to $300,000. It kind of seems like our average is about that. Usually it ends up being whatever remains in the open space pot that we make a request to put that towards the bank account. So next slide, please. So why and for what? So these funds are crucial for us to enable to seize opportunities in the market. Because properties sell very quickly in Somerville, and going to city council, requesting funds, getting that funds approved to then be able to jump on a property is very laborious. So having these committed funds that allow us to jump on properties in a very quick manner is very helpful for us in public space and urban forestry to acquire open spaces. Although we don't have a lot of funds yet in that, it will become very important to us. So what types of assets are we looking for? We're looking for larger parcels where we can kind of program more sports or playgrounds or those type of elements that require a larger footprint. We are also looking at properties that help us expand existing open spaces, so properties that abut open spaces. Additionally, properties that help us connect open spaces to create a seamless connection of open spaces, almost like the Emerald Necklace. So that's kind of where we stand with our open space acquisition. We only have $800,000 in it currently, but we are always trying to expand it so that we can buy when that perfect property comes available, we can jump on it.
All right, very good. Thanks, John. Any questions, folks? I know this is a program we're generally familiar with here, but
Yeah, I have a question.
David, yeah.
Why did you only request $200,000? I think as we've discussed in the past, we can't give more than we have, but we can't give more than you asked for.
Right. I guess I was kind of doing the math between our Kennedy request and what remains in the bank account, knowing that other projects like Blessing of the Bay and the Mystic Housing Project were also going to come. We tried to be reasonable with our request and not ask or pull too much from other projects, because obviously there's some wonderful opportunities that are available for us right now. And it's kind of our decision to decide if we want to fund these projects or save for a rainy day.
Understood. Thanks, John. Anybody else? All right. Hearing none. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Okie doke. We have done it. We have reached the end of the list. I think since we're slightly over on time, Roberta, any objections to us doing the approval of the minutes at the start of our next meeting?
That would be fine.
Okay. Any last questions or comments from anybody before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
I just want to compliment your efficient work through here.
Mine?
Yours.
Oh, thank you. I didn't do anything. I'm just happy to hear all these cool proposals. So thanks, David. All right. If nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll move.
Thank you. In a second.
Right over here. I second that motion.
Thank you. Roberta, please call the roll.
Eric Parks,
Yes.
Michael McNally,
Aye.
John Broninkent,
Yes.
David Turin,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Heather Highmark,
Yes. This work,
Thank you.
yes.
Excellent.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate all the engagement, all the work.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
guys.